What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. Quick glance down just to make sure that the microphone was unmuted. I know you don't like what you've seen in the title tonight, and I don't blame you, but this is where we're at. This is what's being reported, and of course we've got to talk about it. I'm not saying that Trent's on his way out the door, but it's a distinct possibility, and I warned that this situation would leave us in a tricky predicament. So we've got to go through it. So let's see what we think. I don't know what this is. Sorry, I'm trying to just get rid of some of the silly comments in the chat as well. Bear with me as I go through some of them. But I hope you're all okay anyway and enjoying the day. We do have quite a bit to go through. We're going to, of course, be speaking about the main title of tonight, which is the interest from Real Madrid and the conversations that have apparently, at least according to Christian Falk, taken place. He believes Trent has shown a desire to go to Real Madrid, so we'll discuss that. We'll talk about Lenny Yoro. We'll talk about the bit of a civil war that's kind of breaking out at Chelsea over some of the songs that were sung by the Argentinian players. We're going to be going through everything that you expect. We're going to be talking about the players we've been ruled out of. James Pearce saying that Liverpool looking to make 3 signings in this window. Lots and lots more. Also want to just give a shout out to you guys to remind you, you've probably seen it when you were logging in. The Anfield Agenda podcast episode 1 is now officially live. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is. Myself and Jack Gill spoke about lots of issues on the pod. Again, we really would appreciate it if you guys check it out for your podcast listener. Hopefully you enjoy it. Those of you who've listened to it already, thank you. We really appreciate the feedback. I blame Jude Bellingham and Gareth Southgate, said Rachel. Look, Rachel, I'm not surprised that I'm coming on here tonight and having this conversation, mate. I've warned all summer that this is a stupid situation that we find ourselves in. And I know people want to stick their fingers in their ears and say, la, it's not happening, Trent won't go anywhere, yada, yada. But just answer me one thing. Since Christian Falk has come out and said that Trent is interested, Madrid are interested, and talks have taken place, I've not seen a journalist come out and say that it's rubbish. And that's the worrying part. If this was complete pie-in-the-sky stuff, I would expect a David Ornstein, a James Pearce, a Paul Joyce, whomever, to come out and say, not happening, not true, nothing to it. But I haven't seen that yet. And that's what worries me. I would say, always take what Christian Falk says with a pinch of salt. I'm not trying to say that he's the most reliable journalist in the world. But it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this could have been a situation that we were going to face this summer. So I want to know what you guys are thinking about. If Trent does indeed have his head turned, what do we do? I mean, the obvious suggestion here is go and trigger the release clause for Frimpong, but again, we don't know where we're at. And now we're looking down the barrel of players leaving rather than the additions that we want to make in the window. So I'm a little bit concerned about what is going on behind the scenes at the club. We've seen FSG pull out of their negotiations to buy Bordeaux as well today, so we'll discuss that in tonight's stream. We'll be asking you guys how you're feeling about the situation. James said, why don't we offer Trent for Tchouaméni or Valverde and then get Frimpong's release clause? Because Madrid won't entertain that. I don't think people really get the gist of how dangerous a game this is that Liverpool have played. Trent could, if he so wished, in just August, September, October, November, December, 6 months, Trent could sign a pre-contract agreement and sail off into the sunset for free at the end of the season. That's kind of where we're at. And people saying can't sell Trent this summer. Well, you don't have much choice if he's not going to agree a deal. So the options on the table right now are get Trent to agree a new deal, which will involve us overpaying, sell him to Real Madrid, or take your chances and see what happens throughout the season. All of them, absolutely avoidable. Every single one of them. So for all the FSG are the best in the world crowd out there, what are you saying now? When we haven't made a signing, and before you tell me, Craig, the transfer window's open for 6 or 7 more weeks, the season starts in a month. 1 month until the season gets underway. 1 month. No business. It's getting to be embarrassing. And the excuses are going to be never ending. And I don't care what anyone says anymore. We need to get going. We need to get cracking. And we need to stop looking like a banter club in the transfer market. It's getting embarrassing. Alright, Craig, it's been a while. How are we? Welcome in. What are your owners doing? What are our owners doing? Said Sayla Manib. We need to sign players. Yes, we do. And your guess is as good as mine. So not only that, we've also seen today David Lynch say, and a couple of others, that Liverpool aren't interested in Mark Gay. That baffles me as well, because if it isn't Mark Gay, if it isn't Inacio, if it isn't Calafiori, if it isn't Geertruida, who the hell is the centre-back that we're going after? And why isn't it Mark Gay? Honestly, I'm really confused. The whole Lenny Yoro situation's developing. Madrid are going to come back in with a new offer there. That's being put out over the last 20 minutes or so. They're going to go back in and put a second offer in for him. So it looks like United will miss out there. What are we at, lads? And what is it going to take for some of our fan base to actually sit up and take notice? Stop being asleep at the wheel and look and realise that we need to get stuff moving quickly. Gay is extremely mid. No, he isn't. Not in any shape. I'm not saying he's the greatest centre-back to kick a football. But to say he's extremely mid is just bullshit. It's just nonsense. He's an England international. He got to the final of the Euros. Had a good season after came back from injury with Palace. There's nothing mid about him. The only thing mid about him is he's not a foreigner, so it doesn't sound sexy. Let's be honest. Mark Gay is a damn fine centre-back. No more excuses, said Canters. On signing, Euros are over. Get it done. Yes, Euros are over. Copa America is over. The players are returning to training. We've seen Dominic Szoboszlai return today as well, and we said this will be staggered over the course of the summer. But whatever you think about the window, the season, you know, the actual important part where we go out on the pitch and make stuff happen, that starts in 1 month. 1 month. Jamrock, Gay absolutely isn't mid. You're entitled to your opinion, I'm entitled to mine. But I don't see, who do you want then? Who do you want? Tell me. I love people shitting all over stuff without any comeback. Who do you want then? If it isn't Mark Gay, and it doesn't look like it's going to be according to the journals, it won't be Calafiori because he's off to Arsenal. So who is it? Who is this mad centre-back that you think is going to come in and make a difference? Because I'm genuinely all ears for suggestions. Trent is going to stay, in my opinion. Virgil more likely to go. So, the reason I've been worried about Trent is for a couple of reasons. One, the manager situation. Like, you all seen how upset Trent was at the end of last season. When we were saying goodbye to Jurgen, we seen how sad Trent was. And that's understandable. Jurgen was a huge part of Trent's development. Turned him into the player that he is, along with Trent's own hard work, of course. And you've seen how upset he was. So then he goes away on international duty for a month with England, where he's talking to Jude Bellingham. And I knew this was coming. I knew we were going to start getting these stronger links. So the best case scenario here, in my opinion, is that his agent's using this as a make way to get more money out of Liverpool. That's what I think the best case scenario here is. Trent's agent goes, Madrid want them. If you want him to stay, you're going to have to pay up. And again, not great business that, is it? Not great business, waiting and then trying to get him to extend when he has you over a barrel. And it's not Trent's fault. I'm not trying to in any way say Trent has done anything wrong here. I'd do the very same in his position. But again, we're supposed to be the club that's clever with money. The club that doesn't want to overpay. And we've allowed this to get to a situation where the options are going to be overpay and keep him, or don't and lose him. Could have been sorted out 6 months ago. How about De Ligt? I don't think De Ligt is good enough for us personally. You know, look at his career so far. Obviously, he had a really good breakthrough at Ajax under Ten Hag. Then he went off to Juventus. That didn't work out. Then he's gone to Bayern Munich. That hasn't worked out. He has a sketchy injury record. His wages are very high. I just don't see the value there personally, nor have I really seen any links to it. News about Frimpong or nah? Not really, but, and this is just me putting 2 and 2 together and trying to come up with 4. If, and it's a big if, the Trent situation starts to gather momentum, surely we have to look at Frimpong then as an option. Surely. BND 2011, thank you, my friend, for your super chat. Said, do you see us signing more than 2 players? Well, yes, I do. And again, taking into account what James Pearce said earlier on, James Pearce said Liverpool have discussed signing a centre-back, a holding midfielder and a forward. So that's from James Pearce of The Athletic. So that should be the standard that we expected. And look, if we did sign those 3 positions, I think that would be a fairly good window. But it's one thing saying Liverpool are discussing it. It's another thing seeing the action, right? So then we had the likes of Paul Gorst come out and say that Liverpool aren't interested in Mark A and Liverpool aren't interested in X, Y and Z. Again, telling us who we're not interested in. But if they want to claim to be transfer journalists, tell us who we are interested in. That's what confuses me in all of this. Everybody's great at denying the rumours, but nobody seems to have names for these 3 players that we're apparently looking to sign. Why wouldn't Trent go to Madrid if they came calling, said Stevie Boy. Playing with Jude and some of the best players in the game. This is one club. Love the hoodie. Thank you. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you. It is a new hoodie. Well spotted. So, look at it like this for Trent. He's won everything at Liverpool. So he's done that. He's completed the trophy set at Liverpool. The manager that he had a great relationship with, the manager that always backed him, Jurgen, has moved on. We've a new coach in who I don't know what Trent's relationship is or was going to be there with Arne Slot. So there's every likelihood that he could think, new chapter in my career, over to Spain. And remember one other thing. Remember how Trent was treated during this Euros. Sitting on the bench while he looks at inferior footballers out there getting minutes for Gareth Southgate. So I can absolutely understand if he feels a little bit like, well, I've done everything I can at Liverpool. My contract's running down. The manager's left. Maybe this is the time. This could be that crossroads in Trent's career, much like we had with Steven Gerrard, but thankfully Gerrard stayed in the end. I've always been concerned about Trent. I've always told you guys I expected this to happen as the summer went on. And I told you that leaving these contract situations as they were was just a height of stupidity. And again, I had people defending the owners. People telling me that it was all going to be fine. All of these are going to be renewed. No problems there. It was always going to be a headache. And the owners don't give a fuck. And I've said it over and over and over again. They don't care. Asentino said he's told them he's leaving for Real. Sell all 3. I like Gay. Don't love it. I'd be with that. I agree with you on that. I like Gay. I think he'd be a good solid signing. But he isn't the best. He isn't the one that will be top of my list. I've always said Antonio Silva is the one for me. But I'm with you on that one, mate. And then you said they were told 6 months ago Klopp was leaving. They don't want to re-sign. Thanks for all you do. And this is the very situation that I was worried about happening and didn't want to happen. To be honest, the weather's way better in Madrid. Yeah, of course it is. And look, you have to say, it's not just any old club. Like, this isn't PSG coming in trying to throw money around or anything like that. You're talking about the club that's just won the European Cup. The club that has just redeveloped their stadium. The club that has put together a team that includes Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, Rodrigo, Valverde, Endrick. Euro will be going in there. They're probably going to get Xabi Alonso in after Carlo Ancelotti is the next manager. It's very understandable why Trent would look at this situation and go, if ever I do decide to make the leap, well, now could be the best time. Now could be his real opportunity. And we don't know what that young man thinks. We know how much he loves Liverpool. That's not in debate. We all know how much he loves Liverpool. But ultimately, as I've said, sometimes it's a circumstantial situation. He's won everything. The manager that he had a great bond with has left, and his contract is nearly up. This is the time, if he's going to make the jump, to make it. And I hope he doesn't. But I'm really, really concerned. JA Extra, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Very kind. Said, my honest prediction is that Liverpool don't sign a centre-back and try to hang on to Sepp van den Berg as a replacement for Matip. It's the typical cheap, low ambition thing that we've seen over the years. It's worrying. And do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. The only thing I'm hanging on to here is that the likes of James Pearce said that Liverpool are discussing these 3 positions. And that gives me some hope. A piece just coming in now that Ben has just sent on to me said Liverpool have been working on a transfer for Gonçalo Inácio from Sporting Lisbon. That's coming out of Portugal though, so I take that with a pinch of salt as well. And as I've said all along, if we end up going for Inácio, there's a couple of things that concern me about it. One, the price, because we could have had him cheaper, as I've said so many times. And two, he's used to playing in the back three. He plays the left side of a back three for Sporting. He's on one side, Diamonde's on the other side, and Sebastian Coates usually plays in the centre. So that would take some getting used to as well from a system point of view, because I don't see us playing with three at the back. So that, coupled with the transfer fee, it just, again, is just not clever business. Why sign a player for 20 odd million more than you could have had him for a year ago? Well, we still needed a centre back, by the way, back then. Paul, I am right with you on that one, sir. Paul said, Craig, I would love Edwards to sign Branthwaite from Everton. I'd give 100 million all day. I'd pay what it took. If I thought there was any hope, mate, I'm right with you. He would be... The reason I haven't said him as my number one is because we know it ain't going to happen, unfortunately. But he would be the number one. He'd be the one that I'd be looking to put all the eggs in that basket for, without a doubt. Even at the 70 million Everton wanted, I'd pay it. He looks like a leader. He looks like a proper centre back, but we know it's not going to happen, unfortunately. B&D H 2011, thank you, mate, said, why do you think we're acting so slow in the market? Thiago and Matip freed up lots of wages, and the new manager shouldn't we be more proactive? Yes, we should. And they told us. Not only did we're told, they were boasting about it. The Echo, and all these other papers boasting about the £18.7 million answer. The £18.7 million Liverpool have saved in wages from Joel Matip, Adrian San Miguel and Thiago Alcantara departing. And yet we're still sitting around scratching our nuts while the rest of Europe's getting on with their transfer business. What are we at? Like, unless just bang, 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 signing done very quickly, what is it going to take for our fan base to really, really get active here and speak up? You know, there's only so much I can do moaning about the owners, but ultimately everybody needs to start speaking up now. Whether you're a podcast, an Instagram account, whatever it is, time to start putting that pressure on FSG. Because I promise you, they'll get away with whatever they want if we just sit back and just watch. And we need to be active. We can't win the league with what we have. We can't. With all the want in the world, we're not going to be able to do it because there's a lot of young players there. We're going to pick up injuries. Some of these guys are only going to have 2-3 week turnarounds before they're back in pre-season again. It's going to be another long campaign off the back of a very long campaign for a lot of these guys. I'm so angry. Real Madrid need looking at, said Rachel. Do you know what though, Rachel? Some of these deals they've done are just clever. Look at Lenny Yoro. If they get him in with 1 year to go for a fee less than €50 million, we'll look back at this in a few years' time and think, bargain. Camavinga, they did a similar thing. Wait till he got down to the last year of his deal. Now with Trent, similar situation. Last year of deal, a player that would probably cost them 120 million quid, they could probably look to buy for half of that. That's how they've gone about their business. And as disgusting as it makes us feel, some of it's just clever. Schlotterbeck or Hanko said, offer Dallin. Look, I can't say with any level of confidence who we're after. I would have bet my life on Mark A. I would have hung my hat on that. It just ticked every box. Homegrown, Premier League proven, right age bracket, leader, international experience. Just so many boxes. And to see today journalists say that they don't believe that we're that interested or that the interest isn't really there, my heart just drops. Because I wonder, what are we at? Because whatever we're doing, it needs to be done quickly. And Arne Slot needs to have time on the training pitch with these guys. Because, as I've mentioned at the very start of the stream, we are 1 month away. 1 month from the season getting underway. And we can't just ride off the first few games while we wait for the last minute transfer stuff. We need to get going. So, I'm going to go through my notes in a few minutes, but until then, I want you guys to just let me know how you're feeling. Any questions you have, please do ask them in the chat, and I'll do my best to get through as many as I can. Craig, maybe Liverpool see Bradley as the way forward. Look, I see Bradley as the way forward. Conor Bradley is brilliant. I have no doubts about Conor Bradley. But you want cover and versatility as well. So if we were to say Trent goes, all we have then is really Gomez as option at right back. Gomez and Bradley, I mean, obviously, but it's not great, is it? So I think we'll get an indication. If we're after Frimpong, I think that might tell us something. But I don't know if we're after Frimpong or not, because again, some journalists say yay, some journalists say no, and we're all kind of in the middle, not knowing really what's going on. What's this one? So the Daily Mail, Mail Sport, have just posted to say Trent Alexander-Arnold is interested in shock Liverpool exit, with Real Madrid making concrete plans to sign the Reds defender who has 12 months left on his Anfield contract. So not only have our owners shit the bed by not giving him a contract, but now they won't even see the upside of selling a homegrown player, which is pure profit. So they've basically potentially thrown away 100 million quid. It's idiocy. I've never understood it. He should have been signed up a year ago. To allow this to happen is nothing short of embarrassing from the football club. Joe said it's just paper talk. It is. But again, Joe, my point is, where's the denial? Where's the James Pearce, the David Ornstein, the Paul Joyce, the Chris Bascom? Where are they rubbishing this? They're not. And that's the problem. If this was absolutely untrue and completely just pulled out of thin air, they'd be denying it. But so far, it's all quiet in that regard. We're not really seeing the journalists say, nah, Liverpool aren't going to sell Trent. Liverpool have no interest in selling Trent. Liverpool think he'll sign a new deal. Not seeing any of that yet. David said Echo is clueless. Fair, but nobody here is talking about the Echo in this scenario, mate. In this scenario, we're talking about Christian Falk of Bild in Germany, and then the Mail Sport. So, you know, not the greatest of sources. I will absolutely agree with you on that one, my friend, but still enough momentum behind this that it looks bad. See, this is just... The Green said, I doubt he'll go to Real. He wants to be Liverpool captain. You don't know that, bro. That's the problem. That level of arrogance, and I don't mean that at you, my friend, but just in general, that level of arrogance, that's what's got us into this position. Thinking that it's going to be a formality and that he wouldn't dare dream about moving away. That's what's allowed this situation to develop. This sentimentality that some of our fans seem to have, and they think that players view the clubs the same way we do, with the same adoring, loving eyes. Trent has won everything at Liverpool, and that is where this becomes worrying. It's not like he has to say, God, I wish I won a league title at Liverpool. He's done it. He's won a European Cup. He's won the League Cup, FA Cup, Super Cup, Club World Cup, and the manager that was like a father figure to him has walked away. If ever there was a time where we're susceptible to losing Trent, it's right now. Are you worried at the fact we could be losing all three senior players and not getting anyone in? I don't believe for 1 second that we'll lose Trent, Mo and Virgil, all of them in this window. Not for 1 second. I firmly believe that in a very worst case scenario, especially with Mohamed and with Virgil, they're staying this season. I definitely think that the club are willing to roll the dice there. And I understand that. Because you're talking about players 32, 33 years of age, and you're unsure if their legs are gone, if they still have what it takes. I get that. I can understand that. I can forgive that. I can't forgive this. Not Trent. Not the player who is 25, right in his prime. Vice captain. It's not a good look. Craig, I see us overpaying him way too much. It's just unacceptable. Exactly, mate. And that's the best case scenario here. The very best case scenario is that we overpay him. And that's not good. Because that's going to set a precedent then. And then others are going to want to be overpaid. And it's a slippery slope. And it's all a problem with the club's own making. They're asleep at the wheel. It's not good enough. And I've been saying it, banging on about it, as a lonely voice for 6 months. I know everybody thinks that I'm negative at times and over the top, but I'm also not stupid. I can see these situations happening. Like all of us. I've been around football watching Liverpool now for 34 years. I've seen these types of scenarios play out season after season after season. You can see what's going to come down the road. It's madness. I don't understand how anybody at the club thought this was acceptable. To allow him to be inside the last 1 year of his Liverpool contract. A homegrown vice-captain. It's madness. Who's only coming into his peak at 25. Do I think Klopp gave Slot a heads up about the owner's frugality? Unsure. Look, Arne Slot knew he was coming in as a head coach. We're all aware of that one. We knew he was going to have limited input with regards to transfers. And I've always been okay with that as well. I think as a coach like that, you've got to earn the right to have more say on transfers. So I've no problem with Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, Will Spearman, Fallows, Hunter, the rest of the recruitment team doing the business. No issues with that. Arne Slot will of course be kept in the loop on these things. And as his time at the club progresses and hopefully as he becomes more successful, I would say his weight in these negotiations or these conversations would grow. Robbie Collins, how are you, bro? Said, it's a joke. We're becoming the laughing stock. It's very hard now to find positives, isn't it, Robbie? You know? And okay, let me ask you a question in the chat. Do you think that the club are going to try and spin a few contract renewals here as great business and our summer? Because that's becoming a worrying thought process amongst a lot of Liverpool fans, is that they'll overpay to keep some of these boys and that will be talked about as a win. It's, again, I can't say this enough, and I take no pleasure saying it, it's the height of stupidity. It's moronic stuff altogether, and head should roll over it. It's crazy. A super chat I missed. I think I've done that one from Robbie. Right, so we asked you guys what you think happens with Trent, and 60% of you are voting with your heart. That's all I can say to you. Stays and signs a new contract is what 60% of you guys are saying. Stays but leaves for a free in 2025, 16%. Sold to Real Madrid this summer, 23%. I have to say, I love you all for it. I love the optimism. I love you want Trent to stay, but not for 1 second do I think that's the most likely outcome right now. But then again, it's just one man's opinion, and you guys are absolutely entitled to yours as well. If we sign Trent now, I promise you we're going to pay him at least 300 grand a week, when we could have probably had him for 50 grand a week less than that. Oh, I'm just worried. So sorry if I'm coming across a bit tetchy tonight, but a month away from the season starting, these days turn into weeks and they creep up on you before you know it. James said, what do I think? I think, as I've said, James, the very best case scenario here is that we end up overpaying. And that then causes problems down the line. Because if you overpay to keep Trent, you're then going to have to look other players in the eye and tell them why they can't have Trent money. So Virgil and Mohamed, you've got the age profile there. That gives you a bit of breathing room with those negotiations. But if you're, let's say, Alexis McAllister, and you got through another campaign with the Reds, and you have a good campaign, you're 2 years into your deal then, you're getting into the territory where your agent starts to look at negotiations, you're going to say, Copa America winner, World Cup winner, pay my man. Give him Trent money, 250, 300 grand a week. And then very quickly, the wage structure that we've always been praised about having starts to go out the window. And all because they didn't do it earlier. It's all avoidable. So that's sort of my thought process. On top of that, it's the stupidity of, if you do ever have to sell Trent, You want to sell him at the very peak. You don't want to sell him as a Liverpool fan, but if ever it became a situation that's going to happen, you want Liverpool to bring in every penny. It's all profit. And now we're going to get a knockdown price at the very best case scenario. Right, so let's end that poll anyway. 61% of you guys, after 1,750 votes, said, why am I concerned it's one player? It's not really though, Tim. It's three, bro. Virgil, Trent, Mohamed. All of them have the club over a barrel now, if the club want to keep them. Now, I don't know what the club want to do about Mohamed Salah and Virgil, but you say it's only one player, but it speaks to a bigger problem, would be my point. You know, we're idiots as football fans. You know, we're always told, leave this to the businessmen. Where's the cleverness in this? Where's the foresight to look ahead for a problem that was completely avoidable? You know, there's only so many excuses we should be able to stomach about how long things are taking, the new regime, all this other shit that we've been pawned off with as fans. It's time to start questioning the owners. Do you want to win or not? Because if you don't want to win and you haven't got the stomach for it, then sell up, leave, or show some damn ambition. So again, their own mantra is under promise and over deliver. I think we're a long way from that at the minute. He'll leave for free next season if we don't sell. That's the problem, mate. That's the problem. And also, not just that. You've got a whole season then of headlines of where's Trent going to go? Trent linked to here, Trent's linked to there. Whole season becomes a sideshow. Same with Salah, same with Virgil. And then you've got the whole thing about them giving 100%. Because if I'm Trent, or you're Trent, honestly, are you going to give 100% every week? And potentially fuck up your big move? Are you going to go into that crunch and tackle? Are you going to sprint back and really put your body through the pain barrier? And maybe ruin your sensational move and big payday away? Human nature is no. You'll talk about being professional and all this stuff. You'll train, you'll show up. But when you've got that niggle, when your knee's a little bit sore, what do? Do you go and play through the pain barrier? Maybe make it worse, but it's important because you're in a title race? Or do you take the easy route and go, can't play, feeling it, twinge, gonna have to rest it up, and then look to your future as well? It's human nature. But what makes us all think that Trent wants to stay? That's the thing, Eddie. It's arrogance. And I mean that in a loving way. I'm not trying to belittle people, but it is that. It's arrogance. It's us thinking he's a Scouser and he wouldn't dare look away. And look, it's admirable that people think that highly of Trent and his love for Liverpool. But you have to consider other factors. You have to consider where the club are at, what's our trajectory, what's just happened, his contract situation, the fact that he's won everything at Liverpool, the fact that he's probably feeling a little bit frustrated right now because he was on the bench for most of England's Euros while inferior players were out there on the pitch. And he's looking at Bellingham maybe going off and winning a Ballon d'Or in his first year at Real Madrid and thinks to himself, so a club wants me that has just redone their stadium into this magnificent arena cathedral of football, potentially Xabi Alonso coming in as their next manager at the end of next season, Mbappe, Bellingham and all the other stars that are there. Come on. It's not. We're not talking about PSG around here. We're talking about the most successful club in the history of club football. Remember what happened with Michael Owen? Of course. And Steve McManaman. I'm old enough to remember all those deals. And look, let me just say this. I don't think we fall apart if we lose Trent. I don't. Conor Bradley has given us, I think, a lot of breathing room. But Conor Bradley isn't Trent yet. But he's a great, great young fullback. And if we did lose Trent, well then you would assume that Frimpong is the obvious signing to try to go and make. FSG waiting for teams to offer us their best player for free. Andrew, the thing that's worried me, mate, about this transfer window so much has been that one thing that we keep talking about, opportunistic. Because opportunistic, when I hear that word, I hear cheap. And that, again, plays back into how I view the owners. Cheap. Am I the only one who wants Jones out the door this season? Look, I don't think Curtis Jones is good enough long term. I don't. I don't. But I don't expect him to go this summer either. Has Trent played himself out of the team? Not the best defender, not good enough for midfield. Well, look, there's definitely a question to be had, Steve, about where Trent's best position is. And certainly how the club maybe view Trent's selection moving forward. Is he a midfielder? Is he a fullback? I don't know, but look, I'm just a little bit concerned about it. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, when you've had a window so far where nothing has happened, other clubs are going about their business. We're a month away from the season starting. Not even a sniff of a new signing yet, let alone these contract agreements that we all thought were going to be straightforward. Trent's friendship with Bellingham worrying for us, said Harry. To me, the whole package makes it worrying, mate. The fact that it is Real Madrid, the fact that, yes, Jude Bellingham's over there, the fact that they are going to have probably Alonso as their next coach, or at least the future looks very bright over in Madrid. You're guaranteed silverware. You're going over there and you're winning trophies, let's be honest. Whether it's La Liga titles, European Cups, Club World Cups, whatever it might be. You're winning trophies. Are we really surprised at FSG's pedestrian pace in this window, said David Long. They are shameful. So, I don't want to speak about somebody who isn't here, but I will just say that I was speaking with Brian earlier on, who you know is LFC USA, and he lives in Boston and has nothing positive to say about FSG. They're businessmen, end of. That's what he keeps reminding me. They're businessmen, end of. Their interest is in the financial side of it. I've said that for years. And I don't... Sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. Some owners want to make money and they look at making money and they think, well, success will breed more of that. Success will attract better players, better sponsors. But for us, the way football has evolved in recent years, football clubs' values have skyrocketed without a lot of owners really having to do all that much. That's because of the TV revenues. And again, if you get into the Champions League football revenues that come with that as well from the TV rights. Huge. In the time that they've owned the club, it's gone up, 100 times? No, that's a lie, Craig. It's gone up from 300 million, 10 times, 300 million to about 3 billion. And even if they didn't touch the stands, it's probably still worth 250 million. Or billion, sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. 2.5 billion. You can tell I'm not used to these big numbers. It came from Build. Not only Build now though, Sean. It's starting to be reported elsewhere. The Mail posted it, but in fairness, they are crediting Build. And look, that holds me some hope, mate. Because you are right. Christian Falk and Build are very hit and miss. And I'm not for 1 second saying that this is gospel. But it's certainly another distraction. And not positive. Not good headlines about the club. Mr. Tipso said, greetings, Craig. Boston Red Sox fans can tell you about FSG. Well, they have been. That's what I was saying, mate. You know, LFC USA, Brian lives in Boston. Yeah. Look, I don't know much about Major League Baseball. I don't. But I do know that I've seen enough unhappy Red Sox fans about some of the contracts that haven't been renewed. So, another article now coming in. Again, it's from a Peruvian website this time. So, Fritz Frank, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Very kind. Said, my pitch to Trent if he's considering leaving. Do you want to be a Gerrard or do you want to be a Coutinho? My answer, if I'm Trent, is I'm already above both. because I've won everything. You know, Gerrard was holding out for that league title. Beyond hope, beyond hope. You know, 13, 14, we all came so close. But he can look back and go, I've got everything at Liverpool. I've won the European Cup with my boyhood club. I've won the armband when Virgil wasn't around. You know, he's ticked a lot of those boxes. So, look, I think we just need to be honest and say Real Madrid, if they come after you, it is a massive compliment. And I can certainly understand how any footballer would look at this situation and go, oh, it's Madrid. You know, it's probably the biggest move you can get in club football. Mr. MH said, Craig, if Liverpool get Frimpong, does that mean Trent is gone? Look, I can't speak in definites, but I would always view that as an indication. And I said this throughout the summer. If Liverpool did indeed sign Jeremy Frimpong, I would view that as an indication to at least be concerned about the Trent situation. I hoped beyond hope that we were going to hear about this contract extension really quickly this summer, because the Liverpool fan base needs some good news right now. We need some positivity, because all the headlines have been about departures, contracts running down, and this is at a time where we have a new coach who needs to be getting to grips with Premier League, with coaching the players, and he needs them in as soon as possible. 1 month till we kick off in the league. I hope that was worth it, Teresa. Your little dig at me, mate. Is that what all you idiots just say? Like, whenever somebody has an opinion, they're being salty because you haven't got a brain cell or enough about you to come in and actually speak about it. Coming in talking about definitives of Inacio being so much better than Mark Gay. Is he? Really? Then why is nobody looking for him? If Inacio is so brilliant, why has he been allowed to just sit at Lisbon and nobody gone in to buy him even at 40 million? Might it be, and just hear me out here, that in fact you're wrong and he isn't all that? Mark Gay's a damn fine centre-back, and if you don't look at how well he performed as well in the Euros with England, one of the few bright lights in that England team, I don't know what to say to you. But if you're happy with us paying 60 million for Inacio, who we could have had for 40 million, how is that sensible? All of this stuff is stuff I've been saying for a long time, but I have to listen to idiots like you who think they know better. Just drop it. Nobody drags you in here. I keep telling you, I'm not here to listen to your shit. We're here to discuss what's happening. Mark Gay or Canade? Both. One's left-sided, one's right-sided. So I'd say Mark Gay for the left side. And also, look at it this way. I've often said this about our team as well. A couple of players have no competitions. Mohamed Salah has no competition. Virgil van Dijk has no competition. That in itself isn't good. Now, I'm not saying you're going to find somebody to come in and be better than Virgil. But you at least need somebody there. Somebody breathing down the back of his neck. Somebody that, if he has a few shaky games, the manager thinks, well, he needs a kick up the backside, put in the new player. We've never had that. And that just breeds arrogance, in my opinion. You seem like you're a bit off today. I definitely am. Definitely am. I'm angry. I'm angry, mate, at the situation. So, yeah, look, I don't mean to take it out on the regulars or anything like that, but yeah, you are right. I'm certainly tetchy today because this situation concerns me a lot. So what's happening with Trent? Right, let's break through what's happened today. So I'm going to go through my news as I have it in my notes here, and we'll fly through it all. So the first thing that I'd seen today came from James Pearce, who said Liverpool are relaxed about Virgil van Dijk's contract situation. And on that one, I kind of get it. Like, with Virgil, you've got a situation where he's 33. He had a very good campaign last season. He's come in for a lot of flack over the Euros and over in the Netherlands. And I can understand the club thinking, okay, well, let's see how Virgil gets on. If we end up losing Virgil at 34 because we don't think he's worth the money that it might take for a contract extension, I can understand that. I can understand the club maybe wanting to look and see how he gets on under Slot. Okay, I can get that. Mohamed Salah, like David Lynch said to me when we spoke, if the club feel they've got value overall out of the money they've shelled out for Mohamed Salah and are willing to let him leave for free, and again, similar situation, look at this season, see how he performs, I can understand that. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can understand it. I can at least comprehend why they've done it. I've never been able to figure out the Trent situation. It's always been a concern for me. Then we went and we spoke about James Pearce saying Liverpool have discussed signing a centre-back, a holding midfielder and a forward, which is good news. Lenny Yoro then from David Ornstein said Lenny Yoro wants Real Madrid and his potential suitors, including Liverpool, have been told to back off. So again, no surprise on that. Then we breaking news earlier on that came out that FSG have pulled out of negotiations to sign Bordeaux. Again, when I read into the reasons of that, I can kind of get where they're coming from, but it doesn't really impact us, does it? Then there was Ian Doyle of the Echo has said Liverpool aren't presently considering a move for Mo Simican, who's another centre-back. So that's Simican ruled out, Gay ruled out, Inacio ruled out by a lot of the journalists I've spoken to. Antonio Silva ruled out because of the price from a lot of journalists as well. So you start to ask, who is it? Is it Pacho? Maybe. Maybe not. But a lot of denials with not a lot of information coming the other way. A lot of we're not interested in these guys, but not a lot of who we are interested in. Ian Doyle then came out and said Liverpool have no interest in signing Mark Gay and Karim Adeyemi. I can understand the Adeyemi part, but again, the Mark Gay one confuses me. Then came the worrying stuff about Trent. And that came from Christian Falk, who is with Bild over in Germany, said Real Madrid are getting concrete with Trent Alexander-Arnold. The player is interested in the move. But not just that. Christian Falk came out and said Real Madrid is concrete. Trent has a contract till 2025, no extension with Liverpool yet. And then the last part, the player is interested. There has been contact over the last month. That's concerning to me. Because that means during the Euros, there was contact. So Matt Thielen, somebody who I like very much, Matt said, Trent leaving right now would be nothing short of a disaster for Liverpool. Having said that, I don't see it happening this year. Well, the problem with that is, if it doesn't happen this year, he goes for free. And surely you can't let him go for free. So the situation with Trent needs to be resolved this summer. It's either a contract extension or a sale. They're the options. Letting him go for free, it's just idiotic. So I don't think you can say it's definitely not going to happen this year. Because how much money are we willing to throw away? Salah, don't need a transfer fee. Virgil, don't need a transfer fee. Firmino, don't need a transfer fee. Remember, 8 of the last 12 players that left Liverpool left without a transfer fee. So, if we're all okay about that, are we all okay about hearing there's no money? There's no money for signings? Or there's no money for generational talents? Because you can't just keep not bringing in transfer fees and then at the same time us as fans expecting us to spend 150 million quid. Sorry, I'm going through some of the other posts that I have here. So then we had the Mail say Trent Alexander-Arnold is interested in the shock Liverpool exit, with Real Madrid making concrete plans to sign the Reds midfielder who has 12 months left in his contract. Chris Bascom saying about Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp has said when he left Liverpool he will not be in charge of another club or another national team for 12 months, and nothing has changed to change his mind. He isn't available until next summer. So that's, I think, just in regard to links to the national team job of England, and of course the USA offered him a role as well. Gareth Southgate, as I'm sure you're all aware, resigned today as England coach. So England are looking for a coach now as well. The Athletic have said Barcelona's financial situation makes it unlikely Nico Williams could move this summer. there is a glimmer of hope. So again, I would ask, if Barcelona clearly want the player, but they can't do it at the minute, shouldn't we be making a huge play to sign Nico Williams? Particularly if we're going to end up losing Trent, because that's another big wage gone on top of a potential transfer fee. So I hope that's the case. I'd love that to be the case, but you know, when you've got the president of La Liga himself saying that Barcelona are close to being able to afford the fee for Nico Williams, I don't know what information maybe the Athletic have come upon. Obviously, they're a very reputable organisation with some very good journalists working there, but it kind of is a little bit at odds to what the president of La Liga himself has said. Now TalkSport are saying Real Madrid eyeing shock move for Liverpool star Trent Alexander-Arnold as the next major signing after Kylian Mbappe, who was of course shown today in a Real Madrid shirt. And it says Real Madrid are keen on prizing Liverpool star Trent Alexander-Arnold away from Anfield this summer, TalkSport understands. So, you know, it's starting to mount up now. Once we get one transfer done, many will follow. I love the optimism, Stephen, and I hope you're right, mate. I really do. But it's again giving the club the benefit of the doubt. And I just am there at the minute, mate. I am not at the point of giving these owners the benefit of the doubt when nothing's happened yet. And there isn't even an indication. What baffles me is, how can everybody in the journalist world know who we aren't after, but haven't got a clue who we are? That worries me as well. Like, okay, I don't expect the club to say, oh yeah, we want Mark A, yeah, we're going to absolutely go make a big play for him. I would expect them to say no anyway. But that's then ran with as a matter of fact, because the journalists are parroting the information the club are giving to them. Information that, of course, the club wants them to know, or they wouldn't be talking about it. TalkSport hardly get any transfer news away. So we've been through all this tonight, Tony, mate. I've had the TalkSport aren't great, Build aren't great, the Mail aren't great. But again, I'll ask you the question. If there's no truth to any of this, where's the denial? Where's the David Ornsteins, the James Pearce, the Paul Joyces, the Chris Bascom? Where are they with their, nah, there's nothing to this? Sometimes what's not said can be just as important as what is said. And I don't see the denials here. I would expect a full denialation of this completely. That was for you, Ben. Wolf Gabriel Tresmarium said, the moment we hired Slot, we became a leper nobody wants to be associated with. We had a great team, but not anymore. Thanks for Edwards. I don't get that. Yeah, look, granted, Arne Slot isn't the biggest household name in the world. Fair enough. I'm not trying to say he's definitely not a Jurgen Klopp. He doesn't have the name recognition, the pulling power, the history. I get it. Still a good coach, though. And still somebody that I'm happy with the decision we've made in that regard. And I'm also okay with him having a limited to a small scope and say in transfers. I think, as I've said many times, the manager has to earn that right. So I'm okay with that. I trust Michael Edwards with what he's given. And that's the key part, with what he's given. Because we don't know what the conversations are at the minute between Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, and the rest of the recruitment team at FSG. But what we do know factually, as of right now, is we've not signed anybody. Our three of our most senior players are in the last years of their contract. We've lost Thiago, we've lost Matip, we've lost Adrian, and this is where we're at. That is a fact. Everything I've said there is a fact. So, benefit of the doubt, positive thinking, all cool, but still not a fact. We can only deal in what's happening, and what's happening is nothing at the moment, and that's concerning to me anyway. Similar to Gerrard's situation in 2004-2005 with Trent, said Marcus. Yes and no. Gerrard hadn't won the league. You know, that's the big thing here for me. So Gerrard didn't have a manager that had just left, let's say, that he had a great relationship with. Gerrard was being flirted with by Chelsea because he wanted, or they were going to say to him, come here and win the league title. You haven't won it at Liverpool. You're too good of a player to go through your career and not have a league title. And thankfully, Steven Gerrard stayed. But Trent doesn't have that fear. He doesn't have the FOMO because he's won it all. He's won a league, he's won a European Cup and all the domestic cups, the Club World Cup, the Super Cup. He's achieved that as a Liverpool player. And the manager that we all idolised left the club. And we've seen how emotional Trent was at that moment. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he goes away in international duty, away from his teammates at the club, other than Joe Gomez, and he's got Bellingham in his ear, and he's hearing about how great life is in Madrid, and European Cup in the first season, La Liga titles, and all this other stuff, Kylian Mbappe coming in. Would you not want to at least have a look at that if you were in his position? If Florentino Perez got on the blower to your agent and said, we want him over here? Come on, let's be fair. You can understand how it's a concern. Oz Valley said, not going to lie, I want Trent to go to Madrid. Would be nice to see an academy player of ours at Madrid. You've seen it with Michael Owen, Steve McManaman. So it's happened in the past. And both those times, ironically as well, we didn't get very much. I think nothing for McManaman, 8 million I think for Michael Owen back in the day. How much would I want for Trent? Good. Can we get a poll on this actually, Ben? Should Liverpool make a huge play to sign Nico Williams? Sorry, that's only gone up 4 minutes. So we'll leave that up for a while and then we'll come back and ask about the price for Trent because it's a really good question. How much would I ask for him is one thing. How much are Real Madrid going to be willing to pay is another. Because remember, once it gets to the point where Trent has his head turned, Madrid have won. Because they know they can sit tight. They can wait a year. They'll probably still win the league. They'll probably still have a good go at the European Cup. So they can wait. But from Liverpool's perspective, I mean, 70? Probably. On the open market with 2 or 3 years on his contract, he's worth over 100. But now, 70? And I don't think they'll even pay that, in all honesty, because, again, they're going to go, we value him at about 40, 45. And once Trent gets to the point mentally that he's thinking of the deal, then Madrid have won. This is a matter of time. Like Lenny Yoro, they've won. Like Tchouaméni. Once he decides that's where he wants to go, it's game over. It's not the same thing winning with Real. It's more emotional to win with your boyhood club. Yeah, but he's already done it, mate. That's the point I'm making. It's not like Trent has FOMO here. He's won the league. He's won the European Cup. He's won it all at Liverpool. He's achieved that dream. So, again, I love the optimism. I love how highly you think of Trent. But he hasn't got that fear of missing out on those things because he's already lived through them. We won't get 100 and even 70. They won't pay that. I agree, mate, Moheen. I don't think they will either. They'll look at this situation, again, once they get the nod from Trent, because that's key to all of this. Once Trent tells them, yeah, I want to come to Madrid. If he does, it's game over. Because then it's a case of, well, do you want an unhappy player for the year? As every week, there's articles written about what it'll be like when Trent goes to Madrid for free. Well, it wouldn't actually be technically for free, would it? I think, would Liverpool be entitled to training costs of like 250 grand or something stupid? I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But yeah, if he makes the decision that he fancies the move, then it's a waiting game. Who blinks first? Do Liverpool let him go for free? Or do they look to cash in for a smaller amount? Trent never being captain. Yes, he has. There's absolutely games where Trent has been captain. You might want to check that out, mate. He's the vice captain of the club, but there's absolutely been games that Trent's captain Liverpool. How reliable is the source on Trent? Sketchy. I would say hit and miss 100%. But, again, I would say it's more about what's not being said. No one's denying it. No credible English journalist has said there's nothing to this. That's what worries me. As much as the story itself, the lack of a pushback from our side and the journalists concerns me. Permanent captain. Yeah, but nobody said he was permanent captain. You just said Trent's never been captain. I don't know who you're responding to, but he has been, is my point, mate. And you're right, he's not permanent captain, he's the vice captain. But again, not really that important in the grand scheme of things here is that he's walked out, he's won everything with his boyhood club, he's lived that dream, he's played under Jurgen Klopp. We can't as fans just keep going, oh yeah, he won't move. He loves it here. Virg loves it here. Mo loves it here. Trent loves it. They're not going to move. These guys have one career. It's a short career. They're all wealthy. They've all made money. They're all going to be millionaires many times over. So money ain't going to be the motivating factor here. But for a lad that grew up in Liverpool, do you not think the bright lights of Madrid as a young man in his prime, the most glamorous club in the world, coming after you is going to turn your head a little bit? If Trent wants to go, then let him go. We don't need players who don't want to be here. Club is bigger than the players. So I don't want to get to the point of, I don't want to turn on Trent. But I do agree with what you said in theory, though. The club is bigger than any one player. The club will survive any one player coming or going. But these ones always sting more. If we had lost Gerrard, that would have stung a lot. And you can see the reaction from how angry Liverpool fans were at the time, burning effigies of a Gerrard shirt. So yeah, they sting more when they're homegrown players, definitely. Especially when you don't get what you think is fair value. What's this Mark sent to me? So Chris said Jurgen Klopp will not enter the England running for Gareth Southgate's next situation. Barcelona make it unlikely. So hopefully, so should Liverpool make a play for Nico Williams this summer? 75% say yes, so we'll go with that one. Ben, can we get a poll on what Liverpool could realistically get for Trent this summer? Not what do people think he's worth, because people always get carried away and start thinking hundreds of millions. What do we think Liverpool could realistically get for Trent this summer with his contractual situation? And maybe go from 40 million, 50 million, 60 million or 70 upwards, something like that. Trent never won the league in front of our own fans. For the love of God. If you want to cling on to that, Patrick, as you're anchoring for belief that he's not going to go, you can do what you want, mate. That's up to you. I'm not telling you how you feel is right or wrong. It's just, again, pedantic to say he didn't win it in front of our fans. He's won everything else in front of it, and he still has the medal. He's done the parades. So yeah, but I get where you're coming from. He did win the league in a COVID season where they couldn't celebrate fully with the fans. I get where you're coming from, but I think it's still a bit of a stretch, mate. If Gay is so good, why is he still stuck at Palace then, while a national and Simicon have clubs winning trophies and games every season? So, you talk about Palace there like one Mark Gay has been this brilliant player for years. He was injured for a good chunk of last season. Palace did not want to sell him last year. Now, he's gone away with England, established himself. And I'm just telling you that I think Mark Gay is a good signing. There aren't other centre-backs that I won't. I'll accept other centre-backs. But you're saying Inacio and Simicon are winning clubs. Are they? What if Leipzig won, realistically? A cup or something? But, winning the Portuguese league is hardly a defining realisation of a lifelong ambition for most footballers, albeit grown up in Portugal. I'm sure Inacio won. But I'd argue back to you. If Inacio's so great, why is nobody paying the release clause? Why did nobody want him at 40 million? Same thing. With Mark Gay, you've got a couple of positives in there in that he's homegrown, so he does tick that quota. He's in the right age bracket. He's Premier League tried, tested and proven. He's now an England international. So, look, I don't know about Simic, and I know nothing about him other than the names being mentioned over the past 2 days. I've never really watched them play, mate, so it's not fair of me to say he is or isn't good enough. I just don't see Liverpool losing Trent for 40, 50 million. There's no way the club is that dumb. They don't have a choice if he doesn't sign a new deal, though, mate. And the club is that dumb. I hate to break it to you, bro, but the club is that dumb. Because the same dumb club let Trent be in this situation. We can't just stick our fingers in our ears and ignore reality. Trent is inside the last year of his contract. The club have allowed that to happen. That isn't debatable. So just again continuing to grasp at straws and hope. I just say I hope. That's fine. But to categorically state something as a fact, how do we know that? Because if we don't sell Trent and he leaves for free, what are we going to do then? Kidnap him? Put him in a boo? And tell him he's not allowed to go? You know, these decisions have to be made, and these are problems that were very, very foreseeable. Trent's 11 months left on his deal. 11 months. And in January, he can sign with a pre-contract to go to anybody outside of England at the end of the season, and he doesn't even have to tell Liverpool about it. Since the Bosman ruling, players hold all the power in regards to transfers. Yes and no. If they're in a situation... Like, look at Jared Bowen right now as a good example. I'd love Jared Bowen at Liverpool. I'd love to be sitting here talking about Liverpool should be going in, making an offer to West Ham. But when dude signs a 6 or 7 year contract, it makes it very difficult. Same with the way Todd Bowley signed up young players at Chelsea. Very difficult to get rid of some of them. I don't know. I'm just sad because I could see it happening all season. Clubs usually look to start talking to a player with about 2 years to go on their deal. They'd hope to have a player tied up with about 18 months to go on their deal. You'd usually see an extension. Now have a look at Bobby Clark as an example. Bobby Clark signed a contract 7 months ago, and there's already talk of Bobby Clark signing a new contract. So clubs do move swiftly to tie these people down. Look at, I think Mane or Salah. Look how quickly the club moved to give them improved deals as well. So this is why I find it all the more galling that the club have allowed Trent to get to this situation. It's only happened because of a couple of potential factors. One, Trent genuinely didn't know what the situation was with his future because he wasn't sure about the new coach. Or two, the club have gotten arrogant and believed it was going to be a very easy negotiation until something like this happens and a club the size of Real Madrid flirts with Trent or flashes their eyes at him and he goes, maybe. Right, let's have a look at the poll anyway. I said, what do you think Liverpool could realistically get for Trent if he was sold this summer? 70 plus million, 40. Again, I don't know. I don't know what planet some people live on. These are the problems with polls. People just go for the highest number because they want that money. But it's not realistic. Real Madrid aren't going to pay 70 million quid for Trent. It's not going to happen. Because why would they? They have the advantage if he wants to go there. So the number I think is probably somewhere between 40 and 50 would be my guess. Because if we don't take it and he goes into the season and the window closes and he doesn't extend, then it's bye-bye for nothing. Kane went for 80. Yes. And? I don't get your point. Kane went for 80. So did Hazard. But that's not Real Madrid. Like Real Madrid, well, Hazard was, but Real Madrid aren't going to pay it. Same with they're not dealing with Lenny Yoro. Manchester United have had a bid accepted for Lenny Yoro. More than Real Madrid are willing to pay. Madrid are still going, nah. So he had 1 year left. Bookmark this video and come back to me if Trent leaves, because I promise you're not getting 100 million quid or 80 million quid. It is not going to happen. Kane's a striker that Bayern Munich needed to replace Robert Lewandowski. And their need was huge. So, it's a very different situation. Strikers go for huge money. Right backs don't go for striker money. Again, you got to take that into consideration. Stan said, Real Madrid will never go above 40 million because they can just wait until January. Exactly. As I've said all the way through this stream today, if Trent tells Rayo, and it's an if, I want to go. That's it. It's game over. At that point then, the clock's ticking as to when he goes. And every day that goes by, the transfer fee's getting less and less and less and less. Because, is he worth paying extra for Real Madrid for 1 year? No. They can still win La Liga with the squad they have and bring him in for nothing. Same with Lenny Yaro. Same, they've played hardball with Lille. And we're not paying 60 million. We'll sign him for free. Or take the offer we're giving you. And they're going to get him for probably about 45, 50. Look, if Trent had 3 years on his deal, I'd say you're talking 100 million for Trent. Absolutely. Probably upwards of 100 million. But he doesn't. And that has to become a factor. Craig, who's to blame if Trent leaves? Is it Edwards or Klopp? Oh, God. It's a good question. And I'm honestly trying to think of what the best answer to give you is. I would say that the blame lies at the owners. Because they're the one consistent factor through all of this. They're the ones that make the decisions to buy or to sell. And ultimately, the blame lies with them. The change behind the scenes, the fact Schmadtke came out, Richard Hughes came in, Edwards hovering. I don't know. I don't know if I don't even know if Edwards has offered Trent a new deal. Like, I've no idea. Paul said Trent won't screw his boyhood club to go to Madrid. I certainly hope you're right, Paul. I really do, mate, and thank you for your super chat. I just don't have the same level of confidence. Because, as I've said, usually I expect denials on these things. If there was nothing to this story, or Trent was so clearly going to stay, I think we would have heard Paul Joyce, David Lynch, Chris Bascom, James Pearce, David Ornstein come out and go, nah, he's not leaving. The club might have to overpay. They might have to give Trent more than they would have initially wanted, but he's not leaving. So far, it's all quiet on that one. Rachel, thank you, Rachel, for gifting a membership. You're very kind. I would say the owners are to blame for being cheap with wages and transfers, said Kyle. Trent's on good money. Like, let's be fair about this as well. Trent's on about £200,000 a week now at Liverpool. So he was given a good contract. But it feels to me like we're going to have to get near Mohamed Salah money to keep him if we decide that that's the path and Trent decides he wants to stay. It's going to be for a big number. And that's because of the situation that he's in. And it would be the same, I guess, with Mohamed Salah and Virgil as well. But I don't know, maybe I feel a bit more calm about them because of the age difference. Nearly your shows, Craig. Good luck. Yes, just over 2 weeks to go until our live shows in Cardiff and Liverpool. So I hope things are a bit more positive when we're going into those shows, because it'd be nice to do them with a happy Anfield Agenda audience. So yeah, looking forward to them. And again, if you guys want to come and join us, you can get your tickets via the link at the top of this screen. And also want to point this out as well before I get to Tanya's super chat. Just this, Anfield Agenda podcast launched officially today. Myself and Jack Gill recorded the first episode yesterday, and as you can see, episode number 1 is up and ready to go. You can find it on Spotify, Acast, Apple, and whatever your platform of choice is. All I would ask you to do when you've listened to it, is leave us a review, a positive review if you can. And again, you'll get an episode of that at least once a week. And myself and Jack will be the co-host of that podcast moving forward. So I hope you enjoyed the first episode. If you had a chance to listen to it, it is audio only. So again, I was excited to get back into it. I love podcasts, so it was great fun to record it. Tanya, how are you, my friend? Said, am I right Wasn't we told we won't be buying till the end of July, early August? No, we weren't told that. What we were told, and again, I kind of, it's a sensible thing. Richard Hughes said he expects July to be, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, a quieter month, with the transfer window reaching a crescendo when clubs get busier in August. That's kind of what we were told. There was no definitives around us. I think he was speaking more to the transfer window in general. Craig, Trent won't fit in at Madrid, not good enough to play defence, won't displace Tchouaméni, Valverde or Bellingham, won't displace Rodrigo or Vinicius, ever so at best a bench player. I would disagree. I think if they play him a fullback, I mean, look at their fullbacks over the years, mate. They're not exactly the likes of Marcelo and Roberto Carlos. They're not exactly known for their defensive ability. A lot of the time, it's what they can do going forward to pin teams back in. And look, again, I don't want Trent to go. I want him to stay, but the interest has been declared. So whether he fits in or not, it's more a case of if he wants to go or not. You know, if he goes, then how he fits in, I guess, is Carlo Ancelotti's problem. Do I think Trent is worth 300 grand a week? No, he's not. But I'd rather pay it than let him go for nothing. I'll say that. I think Trent should probably get an increase of about £50,000 a week. And then if he gets the captain's armband in the future, maybe another bonus on top of that. But I certainly don't feel like he deserves Mohamed Salah money. I don't. I think we'd overpay because we've let it get to here. Nor do I think we fall apart if Trent goes. I think the football club will pivot. We've got Conor Bradley. And look, we've always said, where does Trent play? Is he a midfielder? Is he a fullback? We don't know. Some people have questioned his defensive now. Some people have said he's not good enough to play in midfield. So there's question marks over Trent and what his best position is already. So, yeah, look, I don't think we fall apart, but I just think it's not a great look for the club. Do you think we're in for Frimpong because they know we're losing Trent? I don't even know if we're in for Frimpong, so I don't know, Luke, if you had a chance to watch the video I did with David Lynch the other day. I brought up Frimpong in the video and I said something along the lines of, David, there's been lots of links to Jeremy Frimpong of Bayer Leverkusen. We know, of course, he has a release clause. That release clause has to be activated in the next couple of weeks, I think it was at the time. Anything you've heard on this one? And David said, in all honesty, no, I've not really heard much about it. So I kind of just didn't really think much about it after that. But either way, you're going to have to make that release clause in the next week or so, because as soon as that goes past, you're going to pay a lot more than the €40 million that's in his release clause. So I think we don't have to wait too much longer to figure out if we're interested in Frimpong or not. I think that will naturally come to a conclusion over the next week or so. Jack said, well then, Craig, haven't been here in a while. I have to say, you have upgraded with the background. The channel's going in a great direction. Thank you, my man. There's loads of stuff I can't talk to you about. Like, we're negotiating a potential... I don't even want to give away too much here. We're in the middle of negotiating a potential game changer for us. That would involve bringing somebody to do content with us on a regular basis that you would never in a million years have thought we'd have been able to maybe get. And we're in a negotiation on that at the minute. On top of that, we're looking to build a studio in a year's time, a bricks and mortar studio. That's the next thing in the business platform. We've released a podcast like I promised we do in the second week of July. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that and hopefully growing another audience on the podcast side of things. Yeah, look, the channel is cool. And I'm very grateful to be in this position because of the great work of the lads behind the scenes, of course, because of your support as well, and because of my own hard work as well. I got to give myself a bit of credit on that one. Is it Alice? No, but I really like Alice. I've said this before. I've never had any interaction with Alice, but she's a great content creator. But no, it isn't. Is it Fabrizio? No. It's no journalist. It's not a journalist. I can say that one very quickly. Although we will probably have David Lynch on again. I very much enjoyed chatting with him. Very friendly guy. So I fully expect we'll have David on again in the future. But no, it's not a journalist. I hope it's Alice. It isn't Alice, but look, honestly, I'm a fan. I like Alice's work. I think she's brilliant. No, it isn't Aldo. God, it isn't Aldo. You know Aldo's always been a dream of mine to interview him, but no, it's not John Aldridge. HAZFM said, Liverpool during transfer window so annoying. Like, why are we not serious? Not surprised Trent's interested in going to Madrid. Can see Virgil and Salah leaving as well to clubs that are serious. I'm just confused as to what the plan is. Because whatever the transfer plan is, surely these should have been a priority. You know, Trent, Virgil and Mo. You would imagine that figuring out their future should have been Leo's goals. Yeah. Look, Leo's a great creator, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about something that you would never in a million years expect us to be able to pull off, mate. We've already had Leo on the channel before. As I said, great content creator, but no, it isn't. It's something that if we pull it off, you're going to go, how the hell did you do that? But we might not be able to, so I don't want to talk about it too much yet. Is it true, Geordie? No, again, I would view that as a very achievable thing, because obviously I know Brian, I've worked with Brian. No, it's nobody that you're thinking of. I can promise you that. But I can't say any more. Is it a YouTuber? No. Lawrence McKenna? No. It's way bigger. Whatever you're thinking, you're underplaying the situation, the potential of it. But it's a huge unknown at the minute. We're just at the start of talking. I mean, you can guess away all you want. Laura Woods, no. I think she's an amazing host, though. Laura Wood's one of my favourite presenters. I think she's brilliant at what she does. Ex-footballer. Yes. I'll give you that. Ex-footballer, yes. Mr. Beast. Oh, do you know what? Nah, God. If only, mate. If only. Anyway, look. Let's keep chatting. So we've spoken, obviously, at length tonight. And I'm going to stay on a few more minutes. We've spoken at length tonight about Trent. But how are you guys feeling about Virgil and Mo and that situation? I'm not going to say yes or no if the name even appears on the screen. So you can guess away. And I love you guys for taking a chance. But bet it's Enrique. I would rather stick pins in my eyes than speak with Enrique on a stream. I would rather put my 2 testicles in a sandwich maker and close them than listen to him on a stream, mate. You are way, way, way off on that one. Anyway, so back to the Virgil and Mohamed Salah situation. What are we thinking about that one? I'm relaxed, and I can understand how the club are a bit relaxed about it, because with Mo, look, we kind of know where we're at there, don't we? It's going to be a case of a contract extension or maybe he leaves for free. With Virgil, I wonder if the club are looking to see how Virgil gets on this season. You know, because last season, I think Virgil had a good season. Statistically, he was up there with some of the best in Europe and was showing that he'd returned back to, I want to say, his very best, but certainly he'd taken huge leaps forward from returning from the ACL. Last year I felt like Virg looked like he trusted his body again. So I can get maybe where the club think, right, he's 33 now, you know, in the last year, he's 34 then, do we want to overcommit? But that's why it's even more important to make sure that the centre-back that we do bring in is the highest of calibre. Because this centre-back is going to be, whether it's this season, next season, or 2 years, the successor to Virgil. So it's important we get that right. You always said Lucas was one of your favourite players and even named your lad after him. It's not Lucas Leiva now. And you're right, I do love him. I love Lucas Leiva. And I did name my son after him, but no, it's not him. It's not Stephen Warnock. It's not John Barnes. It's not Ben Foster. It's not Ray Houghton. It's not Robbie Fowler. It's not Peter Crouch. It's not Phil Thompson. It's not Lucas Leiva. It's not Kenny Dalglish. It's not Jamie Carragher. What's the story that Mark A isn't joining Liverpool? I'm still dubious about that one, Darwizzy. I know there have been reports, and a couple of them today, from good journalists to say that Liverpool aren't interested in Mark A at the moment. I would say I'm suspicious of that, because I don't know why we wouldn't be interested. Jamie Webster. Former footballer Jamie Webster. No, I love Jamie Webster. I had the pleasure of interviewing him twice. Really nice guy. And a brilliant musician. Brilliant musician. It's Markovic. Imagine that. Imagine I showed up next week and like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anfield Agenda, new addition to the channel, Mr. Lazar Markovic. You'd all be like, fuck off. No, it isn't. Luis Garcia, no, but I've met Luis Garcia, lovely guy. Met Didi Hamann, not him either, lovely guy. Met Jibril Cisse, not him, lovely guy. Met Vladimir Smitser, not him, lovely guy. It's not Danny Agger, no. I can't tell you because, one, I don't want anybody pinching my idea. And two, we're negotiating. And I need to see if we're on the same page. We could be miles apart in what we think is the right avenue to take for this. So I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx it. So we asked you guys, what do you think Liverpool could realistically get for Trent if he was sold this summer? And 70 million is what 47% of the Anfield Agenda viewers, 46% now, 47% again, have said. In second place is 60 million with 25%, 50 million with 17%, and 40 million pound with 12%. Thank you to everyone that voted as well. Is it an ex-Liverpool player? I don't want to say. Yeah, but it'd be a bit weird if it wasn't, though, right? I mean, do you know what I mean? It'd be a bit weird having a Liverpool channel with a player on it that wasn't a former Liverpool player. So I guess, yes, then it's a former Liverpool player. Is it a football and referee? Can you imagine? Can you imagine me bringing a referee on? How do you think that would go? Just me screaming at the referee, telling him how shit he is for the entire time? No. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to call it a night because I've got to go and get some work done for tomorrow as well. And hopefully tomorrow we're going to have a bit more concrete information on what this situation with Trent is evolving into. Because at the moment, it's just a bit of a bombshell that was dropped on us later on, or earlier on. And yeah, I'm just concerned about it. But look, I appreciate you guys as always coming in. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. Really appreciate your support. Don't forget as well, most importantly, the first episode of the podcast is now live. Love your feedback on it. When you've listened to it, let me know. If I could ask you one little favour, please do leave us a review. So make sure that you rate us on your podcast app. It really does help. And to everyone that came in tonight, that sent super chats, that became members, that commented, that watched in the background, you're all amazing. Thank you. Yes, I was definitely a little bit on edge tonight, and for that I apologise, but I'm worried, folks. I'm worried about the Trent situation. But it's always good to come on here and have a chat with you amazing people. So I will chat to you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 8:45 tomorrow night. We'll be right back here going through it again. Thanks to Ben for his work in the background as well tonight, and I will catch you tomorrow. Much love, my friend.